All right, hey folks, and welcome to One Daily Thought number 10. Today's topic is diving below the surface of a meme. So, if you didn't see, I think it was episode 5, which was about a week ago. Recommend looking into that. That kind of covers what a meme is, and beyond the level of just a funny picture with words that people laugh at. Meme more broadly, as covered there, is basically just an idea or concept that is spread through people hearing it and imitating the concept. So it's kind of the simplified building blocks of ideas that we can spread from person to person. So today's topic, again, below the surface of meme. Should we care about understanding what's below the surface of meme? And we can use the example that I covered last time of natural or human rights as a meme that I think generally we all kind of believe in, or you would say all should believe in. But why should we believe in that? Like what is the why behind why that's valuable? And you may be able to articulate that, but it's actually kind of challenging. And you have to go back to John Locke, and he actually laid out a treatise of why that's the case and built that idea from the ground up. And now we kind of take all that for granted, and probably rightfully so. I mean, almost definitely rightfully so. But generally put, then if we start to take memes for granted, what can happen? And I think there's some pretty bad consequences to that, which I want to talk about as a way to hopefully convince you that you should, to the best of your ability, try to understand the why behind the meme, which is harder than ever in a world where there's more and more distractions, more and more things to do, more and more entertainment out there. But if we don't start understanding, or actually keep understanding the whys behind our memes, we can end in a pretty bad place. So I think that's the first point, is just that if you don't understand the why behind the meme, it makes you very vulnerable to manipulation by bad memes. And the best example of this that I can give, I think the simplest, most convincing one, is Nazi Germany. And if you look at Nazi Germany at the time, they were filled with millions of people who you would kind of easily think, like, how could they stand by and support and see such atrocities happen? And by the way, actually initially elect Hitler in a democratic society, but then the polling data is not that reliable at the time, but general consensus from historians is that he had enjoyed very high levels of support and broad support throughout much of his time, and it did start to tail off towards the end of the war. But basically put, how could that happen? How could he enjoy strong support when he was doing clearly atrocious things? And the answer is not as simple as, oh, well, the Germans were bad people. They were people just like us. And the answer is also not that they didn't know what was going on. That's also been studied and written about, and generally people either knew what was going on or had a very strong understanding that bad stuff was going on. But the answer is actually that, at least the answer I would claim, is that they were basically infected by bad memes. And that can happen when you don't understand the why behind your memes and base them in foundational facts or foundational ideas and concepts that you can really internalize and hold strongly. If folks were to do that at that time, would have probably prevented these bad memes from surfacing. But obviously there were other factors. The stress of the economic fallout from World War I obviously played a role. But generally put, understanding the why behind the memes makes it a lot less likely that you're going to be infected by these really bad or really harmful memes. So that's one point. The second point would be, this relates back to actually yesterday's episode on Chesterton's fence. So also recommend watching that. But if you don't know the why behind an idea, you can't really, Chesterton's fence actually kind of states this, almost word for word. It's a good analogy here. That unless you understand the why something is there in the first place, it's pretty foolish to try to change it, because it's there for a reason. And so the same thing holds with ideas. A lot of these memes that are out there, they are there for a reason. And so we can actually kind of trust a lot of the ideas that have been pretty well established. Again, we'll go with the example of human rights, right? It's out there, it's established, a lot of people bought into it. That means that there's some degree of basis to it, and that's great. But if you don't understand the why, it also makes it really hard to iterate or adapt or kind of change ideas, or certainly let you figure out where ideas are bad and where new ones could or should come into play. So understanding the why is an essential if you want to sort of influence the culture, and I would say is a essential requirement to being able to do that responsibly. So yeah, so that's why we can all hear these sort of mimetic taglines and slogans and human rights, and yeah, we should believe in human rights, but that, and along with kind of any other concept that we believe or start spreading, we should take a step to understand why it's a good thing and why we're trying to spread it, and be able to articulate that. So that's actually obviously kind of, I think, this channel, that's certainly one of my goals, is to be able to try to articulate the reasons behind the ideas in these short 6-minute videos. So yeah, I encourage you to do it as well. So that's all we got for today, and see you guys next time.